And we are live. Hello and welcome to Developer Insights. I'm David.
And I'm Justin.
And together we are the leads on game development and design here at Codename.
We also founded Codename too.
We're going to be your hosts for this episode and for every episode.
Because when we're not here, the show doesn't happen.
That's still holding up as true. Yeah.
Yeah, today is our 125th episode.
Yeah. Did you know that 125 is the cube of 5 and can be expressed as the sum of 2 as the square? What? Who wrote this?
You did.
As the sum of 2 squares in 2 different ways?
Actually, I did know that. What kind of uneducated individual do you take me for?
All right. Well, I think you're taking that a little bit personal. It's not like I was going to ask you if it was prime.
Okay, you already said it's the cube of 5, so clearly it's the cube root of 5. Yeah. So obviously it's not prime.
Yes, that's very good. Have you been being tutored by the new Chat GPT?
Yes, actually, but I ran out of free prompts, so I'm still not clear about which side of the triangle the opposite is.
It's the opposite.
Yeah, that's the one.
The opposite side.
Yeah, no, what?
Oh.
Anyway, we are here to answer development design questions about idle champions.
However, if you do not ask any questions, you may have to suffer through Justin's one-man reenactment of him being tutored by a computer AI.
Yeah, it's just like high school all over again.
You mean you're just going to skip class and hang out in the computer lab?
Hey, I may have been nerdy then, but...
Yeah, just look at you now.
Okay, good point.
Anyway, as always, we have pulled forward some questions from the previous show that we didn't get to last time, so we will answer some of those while we are waiting for new questions to come in. But before we get to those, I do have some updates on items that we flagged to get looked at by the dev team. So without any further stalling for time...
Is that what we're doing?
I think so. I think it sounds like it anyway. I will get to those. Let's see.
We have some this week, too.
We do. Which tab is it in? This tab. Okay. So we do have a few items here that were knocked off the to-do list. That includes updating Humans Ultimate so that the upgrade makes a mention of an outgoing effect for the secondary effect related to each kobold that's on the top, which it wasn't doing before. Dadius and Penelope are linking to their spotlight videos on their respective character sheets, which they were not before. The Diana Electrum chest scavenger text now matches the same text for Presto and for Strongheart. We moved Penelope's achievement to the correct event. That seems important. Jiang Sao is now showing an incoming buff for Mysterious Wanderer. There was a fix needed to the bounty contract description for event token drops. And we have 2 items that are coming that are not yet released. They're in version 5.7.6, and that is that the patron button and the shop can now be loaded directly from the map screen when an adventure is not loaded. And I think there was a fingers crossed attached to that you pulled off, but I still think it's worth mentioning, so hopefully that works. But that's in the next build, which is 5.7.6. And of course, we still have a very long list of things that are in progress, including, but not limited to, the champion search feature, which I am told we will be able to demo for you next week, and then will be released subsequently thereafter, but I don't have an exact date on that one. Yeah, and we have no announcements, so let's get into the questions left over from last week.
Let's do it.
Oh no. Did you pick that just because of the name?
I didn't pick this specifically because of the name, no.
Okay, well, I think this is IP Apothis asking, is there any plan to quickly add the specialization number of champions affected UI to anyone or all and any who could use it?
Google spell check here says it should be iPad Potions. It's the name of that person. Anyway, so this is actually a question that I highlighted last week. We didn't quite get to it. It was like literally the next question when we ran out of time. And I highlighted it because this is actually a really interesting problem that we have, where there are some champions who it looks like their specializations should have the little hint that says this will affect 8 champions or 4 champions or 2 champions. But it actually doesn't make sense for them to have it. And actually, in going back and looking into things, because this came up recently, it actually came up last week when we were looking at, I think Diana maybe, people were asking for one of her abilities to have it. And there are some champions where we display that number even though it doesn't really make sense. And the reason it doesn't make sense is there are some specializations that they'll increase the damage of, say, all male champions by 100%. And it really only matters because of the meta of the game and how the game kind of works. It really only matters for your main DPS that your main DPS matches that tag, so male in this case. And so you could have a situation where you've got you've got your main DPS who's female, and then you've got 9 male support champions in the thing, and the specialization would show, which one do you want to pick, male or female? And it would show there are 9 male champions and 1 female champion, and you might think, well, I want to affect, the 9 male champions because there's more of them, and more is always better. But in that case, you'd actually want to put it on the female champion because that's your main DPS, and that's who's going to benefit from it, whereas the other champions are only tickling the monsters. They're not actually hurting them. So
is that what they're doing? Okay.
So it's kind of, there are some cases where it does make sense to have that, and some cases where it doesn't. There are even some cases where you only want it to affect your main DPS, but then later on there's some abilities that increase it based on the number of champions it's affecting or the number of champions it's affected by. And so it's a little bit tough to know exactly what the right situations are to have it there. I don't think it makes sense for every single situation, but we're kind of adding it to the ones as we find a compelling reason to do so. So if there are specific champions that you think are missing it, that should have it, and there's precedent for champions of that type having it, then please let us know. You can open a ticket and ask Taylor to forward it along to me, and we can take a look at those specifically. They're actually, I think they're generally pretty easy to add. They don't take too much time, so if we get a bunch of them at once, we can throw them in there.
But the main takeaway from that is sometimes it's not always best to pick the one with the highest number.
We want to avoid the case where we are giving out information that's like, it looks like this is the best one,
but it's
when it's actually not. We don't want them to be misleading, and that's why we sometimes avoid putting them on there if they're not directly impactful to the number. If the biggest number isn't going to be the best one, then sometimes we avoid putting them on there.
Well, what we really should do is do a check when we put that up as to which one would cause the largest increase in damage, and then show you that.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, next question. This is from Meow Arf Moo. Would it be possible to click the affiliation section of the character sheet to pull up other characters from that affiliation up into the selection row, so we don't need to swap through each individually?
So this is something that is 100% going to be made completely
unnecessary.
Completely unnecessary. The champion search dialogue that Dave mentioned a little bit earlier, that is just about done, is going to do almost exactly this. It's going to give you this functionality, super easy, super fast. You'll be able to swap in all the champions from any affiliation very, very easily.
I mean, there's a few minor things it doesn't do right now, like, for example, show you like what equipment they have equipped or some of the other character details, but it does bring up the vast majority of that and let you pick based on that, if that's what they were looking for specifically.
Yeah, if you're just looking to build a formation with, with a certain affiliation, that's super easy with the new champion search feature.
Yep.
The new champion search feature does not grind coffee beans for you, so that is also something it does not do.
Okay, was it supposed to? Was this a...
I just thought we were naming things it doesn't do, so...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sure. It doesn't do that. Next question. This one is from the Lurking Writer. It's labeled as a really silly question, and that is, at what stage of design are you for the champion named Steve?
So Steve, we actually did the kickoff for Steve not long ago. So Steve is fully designed, and they will be released in the future.
Not named Steve, though.
They might have a different name than Steve. Yeah, unfortunately, Steve got shot down.
We just have every working champion from now on start with the name Steve.
It should be Steve. We should just use that as our placeholder instead of year 4, E16 or whatever.
How's Steve coming along? Oh, Steve's coming along well.
Yeah, the design for Steve, I think you're really going to enjoy.
Yeah. Steve took a little longer than the last Steve, but the next Steve is looking like, not quite as many resources.
We got a lot of good Steves on in the pipeline.
I really like the art for Steve, actually.
The Steve art is
especially
really
the
good.
ultimate attack.
I like Steve's alternate skin. Yeah. The Steve skin.
The Alan skin.
I don't know.
Okay, question number 4. Last question left over from last week. This is from Loopy79, asking, when the champion sheet is reworked, can we include seat numbers on the mouse over for affiliation members to make it easier for players to find the find?
I think that's supposed to be all.
Yes, that does make more sense. Find all of the members of an affiliation.
Yeah, actually, I feel like I probably didn't need to have both Meow
This
Arf
question.
Moos and this question in here, but this is definitely something that the champion search is going to do.
We'll mitigate this problem.
Now, something the champion search will not do,
Okay.
it will not find missing children. It's
it also-
too bad. We really should have made it do that. What were we thinking?
It'll find missing champions.
It will
but-
find missing
yeah.
champions, yeah.
What an
Anyway,
odd thing to say, Justin. The next question here, first question of the day, first out of the gate, number 1 is from Numantis.
Number Quan?
Number 1.
Okay. I thought you said number Quan.
Well, I tried. Can you tell us which of the orphaned,
Which of the what?
which of the orphaned champions? Wow.
I already told
Oh
you.
my! Will
champion
be
search
joining
cannot
Dragon
find.
Down yet?
So which of the champions? So okay, what are the champions that are going to be flex champions in Dragon Down, or which of the orphaned champions? Yeah, I can tell you that actually.
Actually, before you do that,
Oh,
flex
okay.
champions as a terminology, do we have that in game listed somewhere? Because we were looking at this the other day, and I think we've got those like the slots are listed
Yeah.
as just available slot,
Yeah.
but they don't say flex on them anywhere.
Do we maybe say it in the FAQ? Or is this just something that I've been saying out loud, and so I assume that we wrote it somewhere?
Yeah,
Okay,
it
anyway.
might be in the design
So
documents.
those
for
additional
those.
champions that you can pick in an event are called flex champions, at least internally, if we don't call them that anywhere else. So joining Dragon Down. So Dragon Down, the base champions in Dragon Down are Binwin, Korth, Nova, Solis, Merylwyn, and BBEG. And joining them in Dragon Down are 2 champions from the old running event, Dungeon Master and Shaka, or some might call them Shaka.
When the walls fell.
Correct.
Cool.
So those are the missing champions that are joining Dragon Down.
Okay.
And then there is a new champion and a rework champion, whose names I will not say.
Next question. This is also from Numantis. Looks like they snuck in and got a few early questions here. This question is, can you remind us again what is happening with the champions that were in V2 Greengrass in April? I'm concerned that if they don't get redistributed to new events until March of 2025, and say a champion ends up being assigned to Fleet's Wake, that they will not reappear until March 2026, so I won't have been seen for 23 months. If they're going to be distributed early or evenly across all events, having them start to reappear between October 24 and June 25, I think the year, not the day, or something else, feels like it would be better than having, and it just stops. But I think we get the idea.
So yeah, the question is sort of where are those champions from the April 2024 event going to end up? Caddy Bree and Spurt, who joined the Greengrass event from the running, will stay in the April 2024 or 2025 event, which will be the Festival of Fools. So the Festival of Fools event we ran this year in March as our first events 2.0. That event will be moving to April for future years. So April 2025, 26, etc. That'll be the Festival of Fools. That'll have all of the Festival of Fools champions plus Caddy Bree and Spurt. And then all the other champions that were originally in Greengrass, that being Narak, Ayla, Melf, Orkira, Gazric, and Antrius, will be divided between, looks like 6 events here. So starting in January 2025 in Winter Shield, we'll see Gazric, and then the other champions will appear between March and June in Fleet's Wake, Festival of Fools, the Great Modron March, and Dragon Down. So no, there won't be any champions that you won't see until 2026. The longest you'll have to wait is, it looks like Antrius will be the Greengrass champion that will show up in Dragon Down. And so you'll have to wait until next June for Antrius if you're looking for more Antrius chests, which I'm not sure anyone is. So Unless we rework Antrius earlier than that, I guess that would be the caveat there. Any of those champions could potentially be reworked. Let me just double check and see if any are scheduled for rework. I don't see any of those ones on the docket for this year at least. So yeah, hopefully that answers the question.
All right. Next question. This is from Weapon. Will current max favor be changed or raised when champion upgrades or area limit is increased? Currently, max favor, I believe, is E308. If you convert or gain more, it resets and rolls over to E01.
Oh, that's not good. So I don't know that we would raise max favor, but I think we certainly don't want to have it roll over to E01. That is surprising that it would do that. So I'm going to highlight this one for the purpose of making sure that doesn't happen. We'll pass that on to dev and get that fixed up so that it doesn't roll over and just
They're saying in chat,
caps.
favor does not roll over anymore.
Is it fixed? Great. Fantastic. Good job,
Okay.
us.
We'll still confirm that with Peter.
I will confirm
All
that
right.
with Peter.
Next question, also from Numantis. What is the actual reason for why the Glory of Bahamut chests cannot be requested by the winner of the world/stream famous 42 chest giveaway?
I feel like we should have kept this question for a little bit later on in the stream.
Yes. Or is it just a meme at this point?
Honestly, it's just a meme at this point. Yeah. If you really, really wanted Glory of Bahamut chests, we could probably give them to you, but no. No, actually,
But
I
no,
take that
you
back.
take it.
No.
Okay.
No Glory of Bahamut chests for anyone.
Okay.
Putting my foot down. You can't see it. It's under the desk, but I'm putting it down.
I can confirm, definitely putting his foot down. And this is just because you don't
I don't remember. It was
you
years
don't
ago
remember
when we
why,
did
but it's a
that.
rule now.
It's a rule.
Okay.
Yeah,
We don't
it's-
make the rules, we just enforce. Wait. Maybe that part's not true. Okay, next question. This one is from Emote. Are you able to let us know, in a blog perhaps, where the champions from called events are moving to? This is coming early 2022, right, Justin?
I mean, you'll figure it out as we go. I don't know. They're moving to other events. I mean, you want to know the specifics, and yeah. I guess I'm hesitant to release a blog like that because it is still possible that we move some of them around a little bit. As we sort of get to events, we look at kind of the distribution of seats and make sure we're not like overloading certain seats or overloading certain roles in the events. And so we've done that for the next few events, but we haven't quite done that for other ones. So I'm hesitant to put it out because I think some people might get annoyed with us if we were to change our minds on things after the fact. Weapon says, add the line subject to change. It's like, I wish it were that easy. But yeah, I think I'm more comfortable just kind of letting it be a little bit of a surprise for the next little bit. And then, of course, once we've done a full year or close to, and once we've done 11 months, you'll have a pretty good idea of which champions are going to be in which ones. Plus, I would also say there will be potentially some of this data will be surfaced in the champion search dialogue. I think we show like time until their next event if you don't own the champion, I think. So yeah, there might be some ways to kind of get pre-spoilers on this, though of course that is also subject to change.
That's true. Okay. Next question. This is from OG17 asking, are characters creators consulted for reworks?
So I don't think we don't usually reach out to them about tweaking abilities and stuff like that. But usually when we do reworks, at least if we do reworks in events or in seasons, when we were doing seasons, we always do skins with that. And we always consult with content creators about skins because, like, one of the things they're very they are
There's a
is
joke here about
important.
Skin Deep.
That's something that's very important.
appearance
to
of
them
the
is
character
appearance
matters a
of the
lot.
character.
Yeah,
So
for
we
sure.
always reach out about skins and things like that. If we're going to do like a new feat for them, we don't generally reach out about that because, generally the content creators have been more interested in how their characters look and less interested in the exact specific minutia of what their characters do.
Yeah, oftentimes it's sort of general like ability type things that they want to have, but not necessarily like the guts of how they work.
Yeah, the specifics of exactly how they work within our game. As long as they do roughly the thing that they do in the tabletop game when they're playing them.
Like Briv being able to jump, that was a request, right? But not the exact number of levels.
Not the exact number of areas, yes. Yes, Briv having springs in his feet was something that was in the call we did with the content creator. Having that turn into an ability to let them skip areas was something we decided to do with it. So, yeah.
Briv never jumped like that in the show, FYI. Okay, there's an interesting one here. I didn't know this was happening. Fewer Pills asks, can you fix the event buff sometimes being applied twice? It can be a big power spike when it happens to a pre-stack buff, and it makes people think champs like Narak are even better than they normally should be. Thanks.
Yeah, we can look into that. I didn't know that was happening either.
Wow. Players who are using that are... Okay. Next question.
Oh, I can ask this one here because this is probably something
Sure.
more down your angle here. So this is from OG17 who says, it doesn't feel good when players volunteer their time to test and document bug reports just to see them expire and vanish. This is assumedly in the public bug tracker that we maintain. Can dead reports be archived for reference? Like if we wanted to submit or resubmit, and expired reports don't show in our active list, so it's difficult to keep track. Can all submitted reports remain linked here? Also seems strange to discard reports by time and not by status. You might keep unresolved reports forever and let us close our own or vote. And certainly I can speak towards that last bit. But
yeah, I mean, I think that one of the issues with managing the public bug tracker list is that that list gets quite large if those things aren't sort of continually either A, cleared out as they get transferred or as they get fixed by the dev team when they can get to them, or if a report stops coming in, that we have to either let that one go to focus on the ones that are coming in fresh, or it's often possible that sometimes some of those things either they become less important or they actually get fixed by something else that it wasn't specifically fixed. I'm not sure exactly what the time scale on that is, Justin. I know you actually implemented that portion of it, like how long those go before they become expired.
I don't remember. It's in the months region.
I think they have to go 3 months without someone else upvoting that report.
Yeah.
So it's not...
if you keep on upvoting them, they will keep on bumping up to the top, but obviously you need like a fresh account. It's like someone else needs to come in and say, yeah, this is happening to me too, or yeah, I've seen this happen.
So it is one of those cases where it's a feeling of like if we get a report for a particular issue and no one else bumps that issue in 3 months, that it's probably low enough priority that we can focus on issues that are getting bumped. We do have those issues though. They don't actually get deleted. They are still in the system. I mean, it is possible that that's something that we could put on your submitted reports and show you that there is one there and it was that it was expired. I think that's what you were going to speak to, Justin.
Nope.
No, that was the last portion, right?
Sorry, I've moved on to other questions.
You highlighted the bottom and said you talked to the last bit.
No, I said you could talk. You could speak to why we why we do want. Yeah, you may have already.
I think I already got that.
Yeah.
All right.
Never mind.
But it's definitely something that we could tag on your submitted report page and show you that you do have some that are expired. But we definitely, as far as just being able to manage the size of the list, have to let things go when they go past a certain amount of time without anyone saying that they're still having that issue. And like I said, I think it's 3 months with no upvotes. So I think that's a reasonably good heuristic.
Yeah. Okay.
Next question. This one is from Little Hero 79. Is there any update to the Trials of Mount Tiamat rework?
I do not have any. I mean, no, not really. The only update I have for you right now is that we have not spent any time on that in the last week since this was asked, or last 2 weeks since this was asked. The Trials of Mount Tiamat rework is, I mean, we do have a design for it, but it is quite far down the priority list at this point. There's a number of things above it before we will start work on that.
Yeah, I was just going to comment. I see in the chat that Fewer Pills is saying, I feel like the public bug tracker is just something for stuff that will never get fixed. Just making a ticket or asking about it here feels like it's doing more. I mean, they do have a standing meeting every Monday. Peter and the rest of the dev team have an hour-long meeting where they go over what's on the bug list and what people are assigned to and working on. So definitely gets looked at, and it's also a good way to, especially if items are getting, a lot of upvotes on them, to highlight, what issues are impacting the most number of people. So it's definitely something we look at, and we do look at it every week. So certainly some of the items that gets brought up here, we can look at and be like, oh yeah, we should prioritize that, and we can put our thumb on the scale. But yeah, that list definitely gets looked at. So.
Yeah, 100%. And that's part of the reason why we put in the sort of automatic closure of reports, so that we could keep it more manageable. Because I think it got to the point where there were like 16 or 1,700 reports on there, and we were like, we'd spend more time just going through it and trying to manage it than we'd actually be able to spend working on the issues. So trying to...
And that also lended to a lot of duplicate reports, because people would have, if you have a really large list to go through before you can see if the issue that you're there to report is on the list, then it's a high chance that you'll miss it, and then you'll add another one, and by doing so, that actually just exacerbates the problem.
Yeah, it snowballs.
So that list needs to be kept sort of under reasonable tight control.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Next question. This one is from Weapon. What will be the longest time between a champion showing up in the current system? I've been seeing people speculate that there could be a 2-year gap for some champions.
Yeah, so there's another question further down here from Xavian 2018, which I've crossed out because I feel like, at least after answering this one and answering the earlier question from Pneumatis, that it should be pretty clear. There will not be like 24 months between a champion showing up. The longest gap is going to be Antrius in Greengrass in April 2024, and he won't show up until June of 2025, so it's 14 months. That's going to be the longest gap between a champion showing up. So no, there will not be 24 months between champions. There are no champions that will be skipped in 2025 and not show up in that event year at all. So don't have to worry about that. I'm not sure where that rumor got started, but clearly it is important to people, and don't worry, it's not going to happen.
Cool. Okay, next question. This is from Rough Rider 1995. Asking, can you provide a timetable for 9 jump or whatever, cap for Briv, or provide a mechanic to allow the opening of our horde of chests that would potentially ruin our perfect jumps?
I will highlight this one, and obviously this is something that gets asked every week. Often weeks I will just not answer it because I just don't have a good answer for you guys. But I mean, clearly this is something that is important to, at the very least, those of you who tune into our stream. And so, yeah, I'll reprioritize this a little bit and see if we can get something for you sooner rather than later.
Okay. Next question. This is from Foolish Genius 89. Here is your weekly request to fix Narak's alt.
Okay, I'll highlight this one too. This is my week of like, I need to just answer these ones and move forward with them. Yeah.
I feel like at the very least it could just be improved Narak's alt. It's not broken per se.
It's not broken. It's just universally hated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next question. This is from Rough Rider 1995. Can Ashara get a human and a dwarf elf glitch feat to make her the first spec, or to make her first spec more relevant?
Her other first spec.
Her other first spec.
Yeah. Maybe this is a, so I've seen this one before too. I've seen this one a couple of weeks in a row, which is why I highlighted it here. Maybe I'll have to maybe run this one by Chris and see if he has any plans for any sort of Ashara glitch feats. My read is that we probably wouldn't have one in the plans, and so we wouldn't really have an opportunity to release something like this. But I can talk with them. Maybe we can find a creative way to do something like this if this is something that people would find to be powerful, which I'm sure they would.
Okay. Next question. This is from Connellian. Did you ever discover what is causing Lucius's test ability that's been present in his incoming buffs since Season 1? The ticket has been open since then.
Nope, but I'm going to get Jarrett to look at this, and he can probably have it fixed pretty quickly, if it's not already assigned. Well, I'll run it past Peter. I won't go over Peter's head, or behind Peter's back. But yeah, I'm sure if there's a ticket like this in the public bug tracker, right?
Is that just because you'd have to walk behind Peter to get to Jarrett?
Yeah. So yeah, we'll look into that and see if we can figure out what's going on there. Hopefully it's like an easy one, and it's not just like the reason it hasn't been done is because it's such a low priority, and not because it's like a weirdly complicated thing. Like it should be relatively easy to track down.
Yeah. I mean, if it's not, we can just put a bandage in there that says, if this ability name appears, just don't show it.
If name equals test, do not show.
Test, don't.
Name equals test, return false.
Which then causes a problem for a future science-themed champion.
Yeah.
Okay. This is an interesting question. This is from Edgar the Peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
Could you add a UI tracker similar to the quest/challenge tracker for some champion abilities that have a cooldown? For example, Generous Jin has a 60-second cooldown where we have to select the champion, select formation abilities, and then scroll down to the ability that we want to view.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I can also see that being useful on a future champion who's coming out in 2 months, who has some similar
I mean, how many of
abilities.
those exist would be the question. Obviously, we wouldn't want to just put one in for just one champion.
I mean, there's probably between half a dozen and a dozen abilities where I could see that being useful. I mean, that's still only like 10% of champions.
The chat, it's a load-bearing test.
Yeah, but also, for Selise's sort of ultimate, for her Thunderous Strike or whatever it's called, that could be useful. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of kind of hidden cooldowns there. I think Selise's is even worse because I think it doesn't even, I don't even know if there's a place you can go to see that. So yeah, I mean that's an interesting kind of question. It opens up my, maybe not a specifically like a UI tracker like that, but some way to more quickly visualize those kind of cooldowns, either like with overlays or something like that for the formation or for specific champions. Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting idea. Yeah. It's interesting.
Yep. Cool. Here's a question. I don't know that you have the answer to this, Justin, but we can offer up a guess. This is from Randram, and they would like to know, how frequently are we allowed to be cruel to Taylor and beg the kind angel to open hundreds of thousands of bounties for us instead of 50 at the time, pending that ever being changed? Is every fourth event infrequent enough? Could Taylor do that? Is that an ability we have in the...
Yeah, you could probably. I mean, they're just buffs, right? So you could probably just change the buff amounts, do some quick math, and convert them over pretty straightforwardly. I guess, opening the hundreds and thousands of bounties for us instead of 50 at a time. I mean, you could pretty easily convert them all into epic ones, so that there's less for you to do. But opening them all, that seems, I mean, so I was thinking about this from the conversion aspect, and I didn't know that he would remove them for you and just grant tokens. That's pretty cool that he does that for you. Taylor's a very nice guy. You should all be very thankful that he does that for you. I think if I was still doing tickets, I'm not sure that I would do that.
No, I didn't do that. Yeah, jeez.
But hopefully the kind of conversion stuff will be handled by the alchemist/notary shop when we eventually open that up, which is it's up. We actually have a deadline for it because we have a champion that we want to have interact with that in a certain way, and so we've got a deadline for when we have to get that designed and implemented. Otherwise, we have to move that champion or change their abilities. So yeah, I mean, just I guess be very thankful for Taylor doing that for you, and hopefully at some point in the future we will get we will grant the ability to open more than 50 at a time. And question: when's the deadline? I'm not you sneaky.
He opens them one by one in his own machine and toils away.
That sounds like yeah.
We got one of the devs to write him a script.
Yeah. I don't really know how often. Not too often.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to put more work on his plate.
No.
Yeah.
Poor Taylor. All right, it looks like we're well past the half-hour mark, so it is time. If you were worried that we'd forgotten, we had, but it's time for our world/stream famous 42 chest giveaway. The way this works, if you haven't been in chat before, or haven't been in our stream before, is there will very shortly be a special keyword. All you have to do is copy and paste that keyword back into chat, hit the enter key to send a message, and or I guess you could click the little, there's a chat button there you could click as well. And you'll be entered into a draw for 42 chests. And if you win, you get to pick the type of chest. It can be any type of chest that exists in the game.
Any type of chest?
Any type of chest, except for Gloria Bahama chests.
And of course, for transparent aluminum chests.
It has to be a type of chest that actually exists in the game. So, Modron component chests are a good choice. If you like playing the pipes game, you could get gold Diana chests if you want some more gear to make her feats useless. There's all sorts of chests that you could get. What are some other types of chests that you could get?
I mean, you can get a multiple choice chest. How about a rating scale chest? Or a Likert scale chest? Maybe you can get a matrix chest. You get a drop-down chest, an open-ended chest. What about a demographic chest?
Types of tests?
Maybe a ranking chest. Maybe you've got one that's an image chest.
Types of questions?
Very close. We get a slider chest. Maybe we can get a benchmarkable chest.
I think I know. I'm just waiting for someone in chat to types of answers. You're close. It's the opposite of types of answers. Surveys. I think Emote said survey first here.
All right.
Types of survey
questions.
Yes. Why are those on your mind?
No idea.
No particular reason?
Definitely not.
No. Great. Good luck to everyone on that giveaway. Next question here is from True1 Hedda, who asks, is there any way to force an upgrade? I'm on the CNE servers, I assume CNE platform, and it's running 5.7.3.1. I shut down every day and restart, but it's not updating, so I don't have the new inventory.
Are they still on version 5.73.1?
5.7.3.1?
Yeah, so I mean, closing and reopening the launcher will get a new update if there is one. So what that means is that there hasn't been a new build yet. I think maybe that's part of what you're hinting at with this question.
Mm-hmm.
I can poke Peter and see when that's coming. I know that sometimes that updater or that version of the client gets updated last, or well, not last per se, but because obviously there are other platforms that take a little bit longer, but it does end up being sort of after the Steam and Epic clients go. So I can talk to Peter and see why that is, why that hasn't been updated yet. It may have just slipped his mind.
Yeah, we can look into that for sure.
Yeah. And sort of a follow-up question here, the next one from Garwar, which is asking, why does it feel like the CNE client is the last one to get updated when a patch goes out? And the answer is it may very well be lagging behind a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, it's weird because we're on, so the fixes new features list that Peter gave us is that 5.7.6 is the next version that'll go out. So I mean, seemingly that means that kind of Steam and Epic are on 5.7.5, which is two major versions, like almost 2 weeks.
Yeah, that
maybe,
shouldn't be the case.
Ahead of CNE games, which that seems like there's something going on there.
Yeah, I can see it getting delayed like a couple of days, but
maybe,
not a couple of versions. So.
Yeah, it's like generally we do the pushes for Steam and Epic first, and then we sort of make sure that there are no issues there before we push them to the consoles and the mobile platforms, because those are generally more complex
procedures. Yeah, Steam gives us the most freedom to update and then re-update without any human intervention, whereas a lot of the other platforms have actual human reviewers.
Yeah. Yeah, so. And then CNE games we can also push on our own, but it does often
We can?
We can, yeah. We can actually
to
push
our own
to
platform?
Our own platform. Believe it or not. We don't have to get it reviewed by, Karen or something before we push it out. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to some more questions here. This next one is from Lexinam, who says, right now, the only way to change formations saved on Trials of Mount Tiamat is after starting a Trials run, or after finished it. Is there a way to make it so you can change your formation from the Trials map in order to adjust your stuff every adventure/campaign lets you adjust from the map without the adventure start? So I think they're just asking for a formation builder. Is kind of what they're asking for here. Just a way to edit, save formations without having to be on an adventure with that formation's formation, or that adventure's formation.
I'm not sure I fully understand. Can you
the
modify the formations
here,
from the map on the other ones?
No. So so basically what's happening here is in Trials of Mount Tiamat, you can only run Trials runs or Trials adventures while you're on an active Trials run. So if you defeat Tiamat in the first 2 days every week, then there's 5 days when you can't actually start a Tiamat run and go on to one of those adventures. So they're asking if you can modify your formations on Trials.
From the Trials map. They're saying from the Trials map, which assumes you're on a Trials campaign.
Is there a way to make you? It's just, there's some words missing in here, I think. So I'm not 100% sure what they're asking here. Yeah. I thought they were asking if you could change formations saved on. Yeah.
I'm not sure I understand quite either. But if they can follow up with clarification, we can take another stab at it.
Yeah. The next question here is from Necronus77, who asks a very timely question that I think we already covered in this episode, but here's an opportunity to say it again.
Okay.
Can we get a way to get to the patrons menu and the store from the campaign map?
No.
Can we? You sure we can't get a way to do that?
No, I'm pretty sure.
In version 5.76 of the client?
Oh, yeah. That may very well be coming out in the next update.
Excellent.
Yes. Yeah, we were definitely looking into what options could be available from the campaign map when there's no campaign loaded. I know plenty of things have been requested from that, and so both the patron menu and the store are on the campaign map now, and we'll see how that works. I think there was a question mark on that, as I mentioned. I'm not sure why there was a question mark on it as to confirming that it would work, but those are in the next build, and so yeah, it's done. Okay, next question. This one is from Asfila 357. Can we get the formations, the empty circle formation, for each event champion somewhere, either in the individual event details screen or maybe somewhere in collections or time gates? It is useful to know when selecting flex champions.
So wanting to know, what the formations look like for an event champion before you pick them and go on their adventure. Yeah, that's interesting. We don't actually have that anywhere unless you're actually clicking to start their adventure. Yeah, we'd have to think about exactly where that would go.
Yeah.
before we do that. I mean, yeah.
I guess the other question that comes to mind for me is sort of like, how much of an impact would that have on the choice of champion? Because I would assume, well, maybe incorrectly, that sort of the choice of champion was based around sort of which ones you wanted to complete or which champion you were trying to unlock. What the formation itself looked like, I'm not sure that would change your choice of champion.
I could see there being like some min-maxing, and like, there could be some formations that are just better for the kind of formation they're trying to build. There could be, we do some crazy formations in events where we try and stay a little bit more boring in the regular campaigns. But in the events, we really go out there. And there could be some that are kind of edge cases for like super powerful combinations.
Right. So this is past just like, I want this champion, and past like, I haven't completed this particular champion's event progress yet. This is, I want to push really deep and get lots and lots of favor.
Yes.
Okay.
This is, I think I could push to 2,000 easier in this particular formation than in another formation.
Right. Okay. Let's see. Next question. This is from Randram. Are we still on for the guaranteed and promised by Justin Rosie rework from a few streams back?
So yes, we are still on track for that. It's not guaranteed or promised.
No?
But at this point in time, yes, Rosie is on the docket for High Harvest Tide, and we've actually, Pete and I started the redesign on her the other day. She's got more specializations now, better specializations. No dumb specialization that just buffs her AoE random formation ability thing.
Oh, not like Steve?
No, Steve. Yeah, we gave that to Steve.
Okie dokie. Next question. This one is from Cyclops. Do retired champions mean that new players can never get the achievements for them?
So yeah, this is a weird question to me because this feels like a question from like the past. So the new Events 2.0 structure that we released a couple of months ago means there's no such thing as retired champions anymore. Every champion is available in the game if you just wait for their event to come around when they're a flex champion. So there are no more retired champions, and therefore you can get achievements for all of the champions in the game. Without having to necessarily do time gates or anything like that.
Now, one thing that we could implement, though, would be tired champions. And that is that if you use a champion for too long, they get a debuff.
They get exhausted.
Yeah, they get an exhaustion debuff.
Yeah.
And then you have to swap them out, just to encourage sort of using a wider breadth of champions.
We'll have to try that for the next patron. So Elminster, we were trying to get you to use new champions by having it just be kind of a rotating set.
Yeah.
But I think the next patron will be like marathon runner person who gets really tired, and they're like, well, if I'm tired, your champion's got to be tired too. So as soon as you use one for more than 42 areas, they'll get tired, and their damage will start to go down.
And from that, we can introduce a new potion that's like a coffee potion, and you can give them this, but it only works for a little bit of time before
before you have to give them another one.
Yeah.
And then eventually your champion will just need to go take a pee break, and so they'll just leave the formation for a couple of areas. This is great. This is live design.
Yeah.
This is where the magic happens,
That's right.
people.
Thumbs up in the chat if you want this to be in the next.
Yeah, give us a 1 in the chat if you really want coffee potions and tired champions.
Yep.
Why aren't we getting any 1s in chat? That's weird.
Uh-huh.
There we go. Oh, I knew the people would have. Yeah, okay. The people have spoken. Blame chat if we actually implement that.
Next question. This is from Rough Rider 1995. Does Mars have his list of things that the player base wants for his next sit down with Justin?
No, I don't think Mars does this. It's not really part of his role here, his job.
I think he has brought some things.
He certainly,
past.
Mars interacts with the community quite a bit, and certainly has from time to time, when asked, provide this kind of feedback. But no, our sit downs are generally focused on power testing and not much so what the community is after. We've got the whole community team built to do that. Stuff comes from Taylor, stuff comes from Sean, stuff comes from other people. Mars will post stuff in the Idle Champion suggestion channel when he gets a cool suggestion on stream. But in general, he doesn't come to me with a list of community demands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't fulfill the demands, they're not going to release, like, wow. It's a little over the top.
Yeah.
Okay. What do we have here? That,
We'll do this one here. This one's fun.
Okay. Next question. This is from, really?
I didn't select that one just for the, though I will select this one just for the name.
I mean, this is like as if Fuji, as if Fuji, or if I separate it out, it's as if us G.
There you go. As if us G.
Yeah, I'm going to need a pronunciation on that. Anyway, they ask, is the 45 out of 95 boss hit
45 slash.
45 slash 95?
Area.
The area, okay, yep. So is the area 45 slash area 95 boss hit armor in the Towering Expectations supposed to be so hard to take down? It kept refreshing really often.
Yeah, so this is, Mars helpfully added a note here. This is the Strahd boss that heals every time he attacks your formation. Yes, he is supposed to be so hard to take down. He is a very hard boss, but there are some strategies that can help you to take him down. He only heals if he hits your formation, so keeping him away, lots of champions with stuns, knockbacks, slows, etc. will slow him down from reaching your formation. I think he also, once you get past his first bar, he doesn't heal up
to the second
bar. And there's also there's a couple of feats that will help you out. There's a bunch of champions have grievous wound feats. I always want to say grievous,
like
or
from Star Wars.
From Star Wars. So there's some multi-armed general feats that cause you to or cause him to not heal. They basically make it so enemies cannot heal when they're affected by that. So that's a very good way to deal with him. He's definitely he's meant to be hard. He's basically the final boss of the kind of misty place, Mists of Ravenloft sort of subsection of Grand Tour.
You're just renaming everything.
Yeah,
it's descriptive.
I am. It's yeah.
Yep.
I renamed the campaign that's coming out next week.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that was fun. Wait, have we announced that there's a campaign coming out next week?
Never
mind. Don't listen to me.
You're channeling Chris.
Okay, please answer this next one here. It's got a great name.
Who named this? Elon? GZ4IC2QIA. Yeah, that's...
We've already answered the question. So.
We'll go with that, yeah. Oh, yeah, and the question is, can the CNE client get updates more frequently? This is exactly 1 month behind Seam. I mean, I'm going to definitely run a check on that. I'd be surprised if it was a full month behind, but if it is, that's not good. We need to give Peter a hard time if it is. Okay, next question. This one is from Garwar, asking which nerd skin option from the post on Reddit was your personal favorite?
So I've pulled them up here. I did see this post. The reason I saw this post is because the title of it is, "So Justin says we're getting a nerd skin." I did not say that. I said we have no idea what would be involved in actually doing a nerd skin, and so I can't guarantee it. But there are some fun nerds in here. So we got the Saturday morning nerds riding in the carnival car from the D&D cartoon. Sugar daddy nerds riding in a legally distinct Corvette convertible. The human glitch nerds, 3 nerds in a trench coat. That's funny. Ice hockey nerds riding on a Zamboni. Yeah, that'd be fun. Go Canucks. Winter games nerds in a bobsled. Yeah. Sword Coast nerds riding on a legally distinct Pacific Rim Jaeger that looks like a walking statue of Waterdeep named Sword Coast. Okay, that may be a little bit.
The artists would love to do that one.
Yeah, they definitely don't have time for that. Nerds in a pirate ship. Pirate nerds.
I like that.
There are some pirate skins coming out soon. I pushed for them, and they're gonna happen.
Okay.
Possibly next week. Speed nerds in a Formula One car. There's a lot of nerds driving in
speed
cars
nerds would
here.
have to be on a bus, right?
Yeah, plus people would ask for us to add a speed ability to the nerds, and then that would just start to get really out of hand. And Witchlight nerds on a tricycle.
All
What
right.
are some other suggestions here?
I mean, of those, what are your favorites? That was the question. Because
My favorite is, I think, 3 nerds in a trench coat.
Yeah, okay.
I think that's just pretty meta. Or nerds in a pirate ship.
Yeah.
What about you?
Nerds in a pirate ship would be my first choice. I really do like the Jaeger nerds. That would be cool. I mean, if it was to scale, it might be problematic.
It would be a little bit, yeah.
And the 3 nerds in a trench coat is definitely a good option too.
It looks like pirate nerds are pretty popular in the. Wow, yeah, there's like 5 or 6 posts here of people being like pirate nerds. All right, well, there we go.
Yep. I
Anyway,
think we ran out of questions.
I think we've both run out of questions and run out of time. So that's perfect. Perfect timing.
Yep.
If we didn't get to your question this week, which I think we got to most questions, some we didn't get to, but if we didn't get to your questions this week, you will have another opportunity. We will be live again at this same time next week.
We will.
Hopefully. Before we sign off, though, we'd like to thank our tireless mods. This week it was Mars and Gabe, as always, who copy your questions into our questions doc and make things awesome in chat.
And of course, thanks to all of you for hanging out, watching the stream, asking such great questions, and for enjoying the game. Because without you, no one here would get to do what we do.
And we like what we do.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. All right, Justin, did you hear about the pod of killer whales?
No.
They sank another yacht off the coast here.
Yeah.
Yeah, the experts believe that it was organized crime.
God. I read this one ahead of time. I should not have done that.